Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel. This is my random recipes. These are the desserts. I'm currently working my way through the cakes. Today's cake is called Hot Fudge Sundae cake, and it comes with white fluffy frosting. Today's cake is a dump cake, so it's made right in the pan that's going to get baked in. So that should be pretty quick and easy. But first, in my last video, my cake tasted great. I wasn't really completely thrilled with the frosting. It had kind of a gritty texture to it. It was, however, my very first attempt at making homemade cooked frosting, so I'll give myself a little bit of grace on that department. Afterward, though, I sort of realized that I was trying to make a meringue. I know there are different types of meringues. This week I delved a little more deeply into the world of meringues to educate myself. I have made lemon meringue pie before, and it has a meringue, obviously, but I've never had a problem with it. But it's not cooked. I have since learned that that type of meringue is known as a French meringue. The frosting I was trying to make last time was a Swiss meringue. Because I didn't know enough about meringues to realize that what I was trying to make was a Swiss meringue. I'm not 100% sure I cooked it to a high enough temperature. That might be why it was kind of a grainy texture. Today's recipe is going to be an Italian meringue, sort of. This one is made with a syrup and an egg white. My recipe doesn't really specify how high a temperature I'm supposed to cook it to. I am going out on my own a little bit, and I'm going to use my candy thermometer to make sure I bring it up to the temperature that my research says I need in order to make it into an Italian meringue. It might be a little bit of overkill, but I'd rather be overly cautious. Also, there is another matter I need to talk about. I'm going to show you my collection of corn syrup bottles. So I have had several bottles of corn syrup tucked away in the back of my cupboard. I've used them before when I had a recipe that needed a little bit of corn syrup, and then stashed the bottles away and either forgot about them or was afraid to use them because I wasn't sure if it was safe to use old corn syrup. Well, I did a little more research this week and found out, yes, it is safe to use old corn syrup, but it really just doesn't go bad. Even if the color has changed, gotten darker, it's still safe to use. So today, rather than add to my collection of partially used bottles of corn syrup, I'm going to use a bottle that was in the back of my cupboard. All right, enough backstory. Let's get to work. I am going to start over with the frosting, and it's a cooked frosting, so I do need to move over the stove. I'll meet you over there. Okay, so I'm over here at the stove, and I'll turn the camera down so you get to see what I'm doing. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to beat our egg whites. I have one egg white in a pan. As I'm saying, I'm doing half a recipe for the frosting, and then we're going to add to that 1 pinch of salt and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'll go ahead and turn this down so you get to see what I'm doing. I'm going to put my salt in. This is just a pinch of salt. And then this is half a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're supposed to beat it at high speed until stiff. So I'm going to go ahead and bump my speed up. It's supposed to be stiff but not dry. While that's working, I'm also going to start heating up my corn syrup up over here. And we're going to go there. So while this is working, we're going to do both. Okay, so my egg whites are holding their shape, so I'm going to let them be for a moment while I bring the corn syrup up to a boil. It's supposed to get heated up to 244, 245 degrees, somewhere right in there would be good. It took about 3 minutes to beat the eggs, and it's going to take about 5 or 6 minutes to cook up the corn syrup. All right, so we're getting actual full boil now. I'm going to start stirring. Okay, we're there. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off, and I'm supposed to pour the syrup in while I'm beating it. So I'm going to get my beaters going again. We are where we're supposed to be. So just to recap, slowly pour in boiling syrup, continue to beat until frosting is fluffy and hangs in peaks from the beater. So I used my spoon to test it, and it hangs in peaks from the beater, or well, from the spoon. I'm going to turn this off again, and we'll move back over to the table. I wanted to make the frosting first so they would have a chance to cool thoroughly before I bake the cake. Bring in my pan. We're going to do a 9x9. We're supposed to sift my flour, my cocoa powder, or 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, baking powder, and salt right into this pan. This is 1 cup of flour and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're just going to sift that right into our cake pan. Set that aside. So that's our dry ingredients. So I'm supposed to add in my milk, which is 1/2 cup of milk, right into the pan. We have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, teaspoon of vanilla. This is my Mexican vanilla, so it's clear. Give that another stir. It's like a paste. So then, put in my nuts. This is 1 cup of nuts of choice, and then as usual I go with pecans, and these are chopped. And we're supposed to add 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Okay, and now I'm supposed to sprinkle brown sugar. So this is 1 cup of brown sugar. And 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. And go ahead and spread this out again. I need 1 cup and 3/4 of very hot tap water. So let me go get my water. So now I'm supposed to just pour hot water over the batter. And this is 1 3/4 cup water. It doesn't say to stir it again or anything. I'll at least make sure that the cocoa gets submerged. This is going to get baked just as is. We're going to bake it for 40 minutes at 350 degrees. I would be back when it comes out of the oven. All right, so we have cake, we have frosting. Okay, so first of all, I have a confession. My first attempt at making this frosting failed miserably. I was not doing it correctly. I was supposed to be whipping the egg whites and then whip the syrup into it. So when things don't work right, you start again. So I did, and I will see how this is going to work on this cake. There's like this syrupy chocolate around the edge. We'll see how well it goes with frosting this thing, but we'll give it a try. Cake is still quite warm. Oh, this frosting is awfully stiff. I don't know how well that's going to work with this. I don't think that's going to happen. Let's pivot. I have a better idea. Let's go ahead and try it as is, and we'll just put some squirty cream on top of it. All right, let's see how we can make this work. It's like the cake is sort of floating on an island of chocolate syrup. Let's see how this works. Maybe this will work. We're getting under that. Ooh. Ooh. I think the syrup is supposed to be there. It's supposed to be Hot Fudge Sundae cake, so I'm thinking that's the hot fudge. What we'll do, we're going to improvise. Okay, and now I'll take a spoonful of this syrupy stuff and pour it over our whipped cream. That looks tasty. We'll see if it is. So let's give this a try. Getting a part without the syrup. It's kind of like a brownie. It's good. Very chocolatey. Kind of crispy. And I'm going to go for a part with the whipped cream and with the syrupy stuff. And it's kind of like a brownie. It's not bad. Definitely chocolatey. Very rich. I'm not sure that it was supposed to be frosted. We've got all this lovely chocolate syrup. This is interesting. It's definitely good. I like it, but it's just, I don't know what to think of it. Well, this is definitely different. Well, both of today's attempts at making frosting were miserable failures. Even worse than last week. I had a bit of an education in the last week or two in meringues. It's good information for me to have. possibly it'll come into use at some point in the future. What can I say? You learn more from your failures than you do from your successes, right? That's what they say. Next time I'll be making a novelty cake. That should be a lot of fun. It's very kid friendly. I will include the ingredients and the preparation for the Hot Fudge Sundae cake, and I'll put the frosting in there just in case you want it. If you have any questions or other feedback for me, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments. I would really love to hear from you. And if you got any suggestions on what I could have done better with my frosting, let me know. If you do ever give either of these recipes a try, please drop an emoji into the comments to let me know what you think. Yummy, icky, or somewhere in between. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. It helps my channel to continue to grow. Thank you for joining me on my journey through the desserts and through the cakes. I will see you again next time. Bye. Bye.